Hi everyone. Okay, so today we have to do a practical for you guys, and the aim of your practical investigation, so I've got it on my computer. Yes, it says to compare the boiling point of water and salt water. So I'm going to walk you through the chemicals and the ingredients and things that we need. So I have a little gas burner here instead of a Bunsen burner. So under your requirements, it says Bunsen burner, gas stove, or a stove. So this is like a little camp stove that I'm going to use. And then it also says a measuring beaker. So this is my measuring beaker. And you can see it's measured there in 50, 100, 150, and 200 milliliters. Then also this is a measuring cylinder. And this is a conical flask, so we can actually use any of these as long as we stick to the amounts that your practical requires. Then also we need a thermometer. So this is what your thermometer would look like, and we need a thermometer so that we can take the temperature of the substance that we are going to heat up today. Then we need our water. So yeah, I've got a beaker that already has some water in it. And also we need some table salt. Okay, so chemical name for table salt is sodium chloride. So I also have measuring spoons, because in your practical it says that you need to use teaspoons of salt. So every time we do it, you're going to need another amount of table salt, and I'm going to use these so that we have accurate measures. And then also I have just my little lighter over here so that I can switch on our gas. So I'm not going to go through the method. You have it on your practicals in front of you, but I will quickly just let you know that when we talk about the aim, that is our aim that we want to accomplish for this practical. And if, for example, we had to ask an investigative question, you would ask a question pertaining to the aim. In other words, what is the aim about? It says to compare the boiling point of water and salt water. So your question can then be something along the lines of, what will the temperature be, or the boiling point for water be, compared to the boiling point of salt water? Right, so we're going to start off by putting 150 milliliters of water in my glass beaker. Okay, so there I've measured it, 150 milliliters of water. And I'm going to switch my gas on, but before I do that, I just want to take the temperature and see what the temperature is of the water before it starts to boil. Okay, so this one seems like it is 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, so I'm going to switch it on. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to stir it a little bit so that the heat gets distributed evenly. Okay, and I will also leave my thermometer inside the water, but not touching the bottom of the glass beaker, because otherwise it's going to take the temperature over there and not the temperature spread through the liquid. So as I'm holding it like this, it's already 30 degrees now. Okay, stir it a little bit more, and I will let you know once it starts to make bubbles. Once this liquid starts to make bubbles, it means that its boiling point has been reached. It's starting to boil. And that temperature I will give to you, and that's the temperature that needs to go into your result table that is in your practical just below the method. Okay, so we are now on 47 degrees. Stirring it a little bit more. Okay. Getting quite warm. So this water in your practical, I just want to go down to the table. It says under results, you have a table that says contents of the beaker and then the boiling point. So the contents of the beaker, this one is just the 150 mils water. So we want to see what this one's boiling point is. So at the moment it is now 70 degrees. Okay, so this water is 70 degrees at the moment. There's no bubbles yet, so boiling point has not been reached yet. Okay, and we are on 80 now, so it's starting to increase quite nicely. There's small little bubbles forming around my thermometer, but I need it to start boiling. Like when you put a pot on the stove and it starts to boil, you actually get those bubbles. That is what we're looking for. We're actually looking for that bubble to start forming. Okay, and now we are 91. Okay, let's hope I'm not missing any bubbles. Okay, and there's little bubbles there at the bottom. Okay, and there it's starting to boil. There you can see it start boiling, and we are on 99 degrees. And there you can see it started to boil quite nicely. I'm just going to switch off the heat, and this temperature is now just a little bit more than 100 degrees. So it is safe to say that you can take the boiling point as 100 degrees. So usually water's boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius, okay, and this one started to boil at about 99 degrees, so it's so close. But in your table you can put actually either 99 degrees Celsius or you can put 100 degrees Celsius. That's fine. So boiling point for 150 mils of water is 99 or 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so I'm just going to take this beaker off. When you heat a glass beaker, it is quite warm. Okay, so I don't want to burn myself. So I'm just going to empty it into this container that I have over here. And I'm going to leave it to dry over there. So the next one, I'm going to use my conical flask because I don't want to use that glass beaker now because it's already warm. So I don't want anything to influence my experiment. So I'm going to use my conical flask, and for the next round I'm going to put 150 mils of water into my beaker. Well, this time my conical flask. I'm just going to do a little bit out. Let's see, so you can get it as accurate as possible. There we are. 150 degrees, not 150 degrees, 150 milliliters. And now the method says we have to add 2 teaspoons, I think it is. Let's quickly make sure. Measure, stir. Okay, replace the boiling water with 150 mils of cold water and add 2 teaspoons of salt. So this one shows half a tablespoon. So half a tablespoon is 1 teaspoon. So I'm just going to make sure it's level so we get the right amount every time. So that's going to be 1. Okay, and this being number 2. Sorry about that. Okay, and we can just stir this in nicely so it mixes. Okay, and I can look at my temperature again. It's busy coming down. It's around about 22 degrees now. Let's see if it's going to go down to 20 like the other one was. Okay, it seems like it is staying on 21. Okay, so we know what the starting temperature is. It's around about 21 degrees, pretty close to our previous one that was just water. That one was 20 degrees. And let's just double check again. And this one is still 21 degrees. Yeah, so I'm going to switch on my gas burner now. And then we're going to go through the same process and see whether this substance starts to boil quicker or if it's going to take longer. Okay, bring the flame the same. Okay, and then once again stirring it a little bit, seeing if the temperature increases. Okay, so at the moment it is now up to 24 degrees. Okay, keeping it stirring. Okay, and also we want to see once that bubble starts to form. So you need to keep a close eye and see if you can see it. Okay, and we are on 32 degrees at the moment. So once again, we are comparing to see what the boiling point will be like between just normal water, water with 2 teaspoons of salt in it, and we're going to do it a third time to see what the boiling point will be like for 150 mils of water with 4 teaspoons of salt in it. Okay, so in this experiment, there's one thing that we are keeping constant, and that is the 115 mils of water. So we aren't using any other amounts of water. We don't use 150 now, and for the next one 200, and for another one 50. No, we keep it the same amount. So we call that our constant variable. Okay, still stirring it, and we are on 66 degrees now. Okay. This one is starting to make little bubbles on the side. Okay, and now we've hit the 80 mark. The variables that we are changing will be the amount of salt that we are adding every time. So that is not the same every time, so we can't say it's a constant variable. So that's a variable that changes. Okay, there it starts to boil. There's the bubbles, and we are on 96 degrees. Okay, there it started to boil, and we are on 96 degrees. So I'm going to switch my heat off. Okay, and you can, in your table where it says 150 mils water plus 2 teaspoons of salt, what is the boiling point? The boiling point was reached at 96 degrees. Okay, and this glass beaker of mine is nice and cool now already. So I'm going to use this one again. And I am just going to take this one off and empty it into my container over here so it can cool down. Okay, and then we are ready for round 3. Okay, so there goes my glass beaker. I'll put it this way so you can see that once again, our constant variable, the amount of water that we use. So I'm going to put in 150 milliliters of water. A little bit more. Okay, there we go. And so for the first one we had no salt, the second one we had 2 teaspoons of salt, and now for the third one we will have 4 teaspoons of salt. Okay, so let me just make sure it's even, that we have the right amount. 1. Okay, making it this way, oops. Okay, 2, 3, okay, and 4. So there we go, 4 teaspoons of salt. Last round. I'm just going to take my temperature for this mixture, and and the temperature is coming down. It's at 26, 24. Let's see how far down it will go. 23. Okay. 22. Let's see if we can get a 21 or a 20 from this one. Okay, let's see. Okay, it seems like it is stuck on 22 degrees Celsius. Okay, so now that we have our starting temperature, we are ready to go. Just going to switch on my heat source once again. Okay, making sure it's the same as the previous time. Okay, and let's stir it. So the boiling point for water was 99 or 100 degrees Celsius. If you look it up on Google, it will tell you it's 100 degrees Celsius. So we were very, very close. So you're welcome to use the 100 degrees Celsius. The second one with 150 mils of water with the 2 teaspoons of salt, its boiling point was 96 degrees. Okay. And what we are doing is that we are comparing the boiling point of the same amount of water but with different amounts of salt. So we want to see that if we add salt to the water, if it influences the boiling point of the water. Okay, so we are on 46, 47, 48 degrees already with this mixture. So the temperature is rising quite quickly. Okay. And we are on 57 degrees already. Let's check to see if we are getting any bubbles. In the meantime, I just want to go down your practical here and see. Okay, so they want you to answer questions like, what is the boiling point? You need to explain what the boiling point of a substance is. So please go and look it up in your books. Ask Google if you have to. Okay, then we are on 74 degrees now. No bubbles yet. Let's see. Name 2 properties of the liquid that influences the value of the boiling point. So unfortunately, I'm not allowed to answer any of these questions for you, but I am just mentioning it to you. Okay, and now we are on 85 degrees. Still no bubbles. Let's see. Stirring it a little bit. Okay, there seems like there's little bubbles over there at the bottom. There it starts to boil, and we are on 92 degrees. So it started to boil at 92 degrees. I hope on the screen that you can see it nice and clearly, the bubbles over there for me. So 4 teaspoons of salt in 150 mils water started boiling at 92 degrees Celsius. So there you have it. Just want to double check all your other questions. They say explain how each of the properties named in the previous question can influence the boiling point. So you have some nice questions that you can go and research in your practical. And they also want to know in question number 7, which beaker's content has the lowest boiling point. So was it the one with the 100 degrees Celsius, the one with the 96 degrees Celsius, or the one with the 92 degrees Celsius? So I hope this helps and that you enjoyed this practical, and all the best. Make sure that you complete all the questions to the best of your ability and submit it to your teacher as soon as possible. Hope you had fun and enjoy the rest of your practical. Bye.